This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
This is why the Nkuhuma Pride is such a firm favourite.
It's Kinky Tail.
He just looks ready for a fight. This is still her territory.
The Avoca boys are here to stay.
Ooh. How insane was that?
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the 25th episode of Safari Live, a weekly highlights package of the wonderful things that have happened during the course of the week here at Djuma Private Game Reserve in the western fringes of the Great Kruger National Park and, of course, the Masai Mara Triangle up in the Mara Serengeti ecosystem of East Africa, more specifically in Kenya. Now, today, you may think that the focus of our show is going to be elephants, but you would be wrong, because behind my back I have got what we are going to be focusing on today. Today we will focus on the wild dog. More specifically, the Investic breakaway pack of wild dogs, and they are of course the pack that we see most frequently over here. My name is James Hendry. This is William, the wild dog. Does he have a strap? William doesn't get a strap. We'll see if we can sort that out during the course of the show. Please talk to us using the hashtag SafariLive on Twitter or the YouTube chat stream. Send us your questions and comments and try, if you can, to keep them character focused, if that's okay. Let us have a look now at the week that was.
As has become the weekly cliché, Hosannas gave us the bulk of this week's entertainment. He was hunter, clown and tormentor, as you will see. The Investic breakaway pack came for a drink and then left, while Tingana and Tlalamba had a breathtaking moment on our eastern boundary. Up north, we're still waiting for the sausages to pop, and the Olololos have been experimenting with some non-migration cuisine.
So we do have a small herd of elephants that's coming past the tent here. Last week we had the most special elephant bull sighting at the end of Safari Lives here at the tent. And perhaps we'll have a repeat this time with an elephant herd. Now there is a storm brewing overhead. There is thunder going all around us. I do hope that it's going to be something more than just a political promise type of a storm and that it'll actually dump some water on us. That would be great. Now, making her debut today in Safari Lives is the Scottish contingent.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Kruger. We are in fact on the search for our favourite leopard, Mr. Hosanna, today. And we have came to the dam area, which is a water hole, and instead we found a hyena. So my name is Lauren, and please do interact with us, send all your comments and questions, and we're going to stay in this area for a little while in case Hosanna is around. He has been here for a number of days now, and he was seen last night snatching a baboon. The hyena over here is one of leopards in general biggest competitors. So the fact that this hyena, who we've yet to identify, is sitting so relaxed makes it seem like Hosanna is not around. But we are going to stay here for just a short time, and then we will go look for our spotted cat. The hyena's definitely curious of the impalas around. There's many impalas that just came for a drink, but they're all slightly nervous coming to the water hole. It's not a safe place to be. So I do believe our little chief is around somewhere, and we will look for him. So for now, we're going to throw you all the way up north to Steve, who is in the Mara, and I believe he's looking at something very similar to us, the hyena.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Masai Mara, the Mara Triangle. My name is indeed Steve. I'm joined on camera by Big James, and well, it is a beautiful 28 degrees Celsius, 82 degrees Fahrenheit, and over on the top of the mountain, there is an enormous storm brewing on that side, but we're going to hope that it stays there, because I'm not in the mood for getting wet today. It's very hard to find characters as well when it is thunder and lightning, but we are on the search for the Awino Pride. We are in the area. We've been spending a lot of time the last 2-3 days seeing if we can find them. It's been a bit of upheaval because the Olololo Pride, their territory kind of moved to this area. Just the other day we had the 5 Awinos up here with 4 of the young Olololo males, and they probably stole the kill from them. We're not sure what happened. We didn't see it. We just found 4 very fat young males with the buffalo and the 5 Awinos moving away. So there's a bit of upheaval, and the 2 lioness who make up the Awino Pride weren't sticking around, and now we're trying to find them. They've moved. We don't know where they are. There's plenty of animals though on the landscape. I'm sure James has told you how to get hold of us. We'd love to hear from you, and indeed keep your questions character related, and hopefully we'll be able to answer them for you. Okay, well, I'm heading south. David has just come down the mountain and he has got a whole lot of giraffe.
Very good, Stephen. Good luck, and hopefully you are going to catch up with the Awinos. You saw 2 males this morning. I'm not sure which ones they were. But giraffes have been known, once the wildebeest have gone, or once all the migration is back to Serengeti in Tanzania, they're left hunting the big game, like giraffes or buffaloes or elands or any other thing that could be a bit dangerous for them. Well, welcome to me and Bungei. My name is David, nothing has changed. And Bungei, good afternoon, sir. And welcome to Safari Lives this Monday. We have a lot for you. And to start with, me and Bungei are offering you giraffes. And remember, this is a very interactive safari. Any questions you may have, any comments, we are happy hearing you talking to us as usual on #SafariLive. There's young calves there of the giraffe, and I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, and that one looks pretty young to me. There's one that I saw earlier with an umbilical cord, which meant it must have been such a young baby, and I'm sure Bungei is trying to track it down. Do you think it's that one, Bungei? Yes, if you look carefully, I think she's looking at us at the same time. And, you know, the mothers will be carried in their wombs for like about 14 and a half, 15 months. Such a long time to bring down a baby. Of course, much better than elephants. And I got a feeling they're all together with a nanny. And very good to hear all of you saying good afternoon. It's a very good afternoon from all of us here in the Mara Triangle. Giraffes, these are the Maasai giraffe, the tallest animals we got in Africa and I think all over the world. And I think they're being taken care of by one of their nannies, which could be either an elder or a sister. Well, my plans today is to look for more lions like Steve, and before we do that, we'll take you to Sydney, who has an animal that lives in the water.
Look at that. I do have this very big and amazing animal now just lying down on a dry surface. This is the Buffalo's Hook Dam. It's completely dry and the hippopotamus is trying to go to one of the spots which is moisturized in order to cool the body temperature, but I don't think that is helping. A good afternoon and welcome to the Safari Lives. My name is Sydney Pumurani Mikosi and I'm going to be with you this afternoon with Seb. We are going to try by all means and get you see some of the interesting interaction of the wild. I will be looking specifically for Tingana. We might be lucky with the lions as well, as I will go to the area where we have last spotted them yesterday. For your questions and comments, you can follow us on Twitter, #SafariLives. You can also follow us on YouTube chat stream. So the hippopotamus normally, they prefer to be in water and come out and go in just like that. But now here they are only on one gear. They're just exposed to the sun. When the sun is too strong, I'm sure he's moving to the thick bush a little bit, and the bush has not yet much recovered. So at this stage, the hippopotamus, this one specifically, which is not by the big dam, is experiencing sunburn. They are well equipped with a subcutaneous gland which is there to prevent the sunburn. So Andre, I didn't get your question very nicely. I am not too sure which one is this. So you can see now that he has been rolling here since this morning. You can see the skin there. He's got quite a lot of mud, but he's still breathing. When we got here first, we thought, hey, he's not alive. And then we saw the eyes blinking and the nose opening. This looks like the very same hippo we saw yesterday outside the dam where the lions were trying their luck. You can see this is quite a huge animal. Hippopotamus are not ruminants. The ruminants are those animals who normally goes out for feeding purposes and then chew some cud, take back food to the mouth and eat again. They've got four-chambered stomach, but their four-chambered stomach serve as a hindgut fermenter. So in other words, the digestive system on them, it starts from the mouth. So look, now we have got that red-billed oxpecker trying to get something to eat. So they clean the wounds, they eat this rotten meat there from the wounds. But by doing that, they also open and get blood. Now let's go back to James, who is by the tent at the moment.
Ah. Hello, everybody. I was trying to look intelligent there. Did you see? Did you think I looked intelligent? I can read, you see. Very good. Now, we are, as I said, going to discuss the Investec pack of wild dogs, the Investec breakaway pack, not actually the Investec pack. We've been seeing them since around about 2015. Now, we've got these clips, and I can tell Jerry to stop. Watch this. Jerry, stop. Go back. Go forward. Go back. Okay, so we can go back and forth through the clips as we desire. Geraldine is running them. So this was when we first met the Investec breakaway pack. There were quite a few of them. You can see the alpha male there has got a collar. Now, the pack originated from the Investec pack, which was around Skukuza in the Kruger Park, and it broke away from them, which is entirely normal, in round about 2015 and formed the new pack. Now, at the moment, there are only 4 adult dogs in the pack. That original alpha is long dead. And interestingly, they actually don't have a very long lifespan. Their lifespan is only about 5 years or so. So those pups there that you saw, which were probably about 6 months old at that stage, maybe a little bit younger than that, would be into their sort of, 3.5, they'd be 3.5 years old now, and possibly leading packs of their own. It's unlikely any of them have remained in this particular pack. They're probably headed off, and hopefully they're alive and with their own packs. But of course, the plight of the wild dog is well known. There are very few of them left, and in the Kruger Park probably only about 250 or so, and that's been the case for a long time now. There hasn't been a great increase of them over the last 10 years or so, which is a little bit sad. Now, you want to know why they're known as the breakaways? Well, let's go back first to why they're called Investec. Investec is a bank in South Africa, and they sponsored some wildlife research, and so that is why we have a beautiful pack of wild dogs named after a commercial entity that could not really be described as beautiful. I don't know that anybody in the world thinks a bank is beautiful. Anyway, the Investec pack is named after them because they put some money into wild dog conservation. Thank you to them. And then this pack broke away from the pack, and if I just check my information correctly here, I just need to make sure that I am reading it correctly. Yes. They split from the Investec pack in 2015, which we knew. I just hoped that my info would have said whether the new pack was made of males or females from that pack. So it's quite likely that the Investec pack, the Investec Breakaway pack, was made of males or females from the original Investec pack, and that the opposite sex would have then joined from another pack. And so that's why they're called the Investec Breakaway pack. Alrighty, let us go across to Stivovo, who's looking for one of our other main characters. They are, of course, the 5 lions of the Owino Pride.
We are indeed looking for lions. We found 2 males this morning, not far from where we are, in the search for our Owino Pride. Who knows where they are, bouncing between the Sausage Tree Pride territory, the Mogoros to the north of them, and then the Olololos to the south, actually to the north as well. But there are bountiful numbers of prey still on the plains, and the area we're moving into now has got so many zebra, wildebeest, giraffe and eland, and it's a place where there's a good sort of area, hunting ground for lions. And a little bit further north from where we've just come from, we've spent some time with the Olololo Pride this week, who've been learning some lessons of how to become mature lions. Having become accustomed to regular meals during the migration, the young and boisterous males of the Olololo Pride can't help their inquisitiveness. Even large and dangerous animals such as hippo are cause for investigation. The subadults will need to learn what comprises suitable prey and what creatures bite back and should rather be avoided. Each failed attempt provides insight and some moments of quiet contemplation. The short rains have arrived in the Mara, and zebra are still numerous. Although they still require some effort to catch, zebras serve as the perfect meal for a pride of lions. The subadults of the Olololo Pride will soon have all the necessary skills and know-how to catch food for themselves. Well, welcome back. Well, indeed, a zebra are a much, well, I wouldn't say easier prey to catch, but a much more suitable prey for lions. And when you're a young male lion, you can't help but be inquisitive for absolutely anything that moves. Important lessons, as we discussed there, are required for a lion to reach maturity. Not only do you have to be able to acquire food, well, you have to be able to fend for it as well against other lions, and, well, you have to select the right prey. And hippo, although we had the Unkuhumas with the Sydney, was it this morning or yesterday? I'm a bit lost in a time bubble. But the Unkuhuma Pride seemingly chasing hippo all over the place. They have caught one before, but not an easy animal to catch. When they turn around, those enormous incisors will just chop you right in half. So definitely a stage, important lessons in the life of young males, young lions in general. Even though hippo might taste good, you've got to catch them. Very low center of gravity. You've got to bring a hippo to the ground, then be able to suffocate it before those teeth are able to lock into your head. I've seen a lioness get picked up by a hippo on the head and tossed like a rag doll as if she was nothing. So zebras, although they can kick and they can bite, they're much more suitable in the form of lion prey than large hippopotamuses and elephants. Well, that baby zebra you see in picture definitely would fall prey to a young leopard, one who seemingly has an unending appetite.
Yes, indeed. We are still looking for the elusive cat. We're going to check another water hole at the minute. Bear with us. Most of the time we find Hosanna in the same place at the same time, sleeping. However, recently we've had some great hunting activity from him. We've seen him eat everything from baby impalas to baboons. So let's take a look at Hosanna, getting ready to hunt and be nice and alert. Hosanna was alert and on the move. Driven by his desire for food, he showed off his form as he stalked and in stealth across the landscape. The little chief was getting to grips with his hunting technique, practicing his posture before being interrupted. The hyenas of Juma continued to disrupt Hosanna, leaving the little chief to do what he does best and sleep. So Hosanna is still getting to grips with his techniques. He's not 100% perfected it yet. He is almost 3 years old. Not quite 3, he will be 3 in February, and he's still learning. The other day we watched him miss many impalas. He had many opportunities and he let go of every single one. So even although he's spotty and golden and beautiful, he's very camouflage. He's actually very difficult to find. So we've got our head on a swivel here, hopefully locating some leopards for you. The weather has cooled down quite a bit here now, so he will be starting to perk up. It's not so hot. It's been really hot today, and he will probably potentially be ready to hunt or start to hunt again soon. So we're just going to keep driving near the water holes. He does have a tendency to like to hang around the water holes, and hopefully we can find him. It's not an easy task, let me tell you that. So for now, let's go to James, who's going to tell you even more about the wild dogs.
Yes, I'm going to do my best to tell you more about the wild dogs. We're now going to look at sort of recognizing them. It's not very difficult to recognize a wild dog, of course, because nothing else in the world looks anything like it. And they're actually quite difficult to recognize as members of a pack. You've got to have photographs of both sides, but they do have some unique markings, and I'll kind of try and tell you what to look for in this next little bit. Now, the first most obvious thing, of course, are those ears, which look like Mickey Mouse, and they are hugely important when these animals hunt. They listen out for each other's calls and for the distress calls of animals that their cohorts may have caught. And so those ears, massively important when they're hunting. Now, if we can just pause there, Jerry. Jerry, stop there. Jerry, stop. Thank you very much. Now, those markings, now you can stop there, don't go back. Those markings are obviously unique on each dog. Now, I say obviously because if they were the same on each dog, it really would be rather more remarkable than the fact that they are so unique. And that's the way you'd recognize them. So basically you would look and try and figure out if there was an obvious pattern, much like you do with a hyena, really, and you try and figure out which bit of the pattern was most obvious, and then you'd be able to figure out which dog you were looking at. Now, because we see them infrequently, we don't know them nearly as well as we know as our hyenas or our leopards, and so their spots and their different markings, beautiful as they are not quite as familiar to us as the leopards or the hyenas. And play. Very good, Jerry, you're on top form today. The other thing to notice about the dogs is the white tail tips. You can see them moving there, and you can see how obviously they are used by the pack to follow one another. Very unusually, you do sometimes actually find wild dogs that have black tail tips. Now, this greeting ceremony will just stop there, go back a sec, back a little bit, there. Okay, so what we've got here is two dogs, part of the pack. Obviously, there is a very strict hierarchy enforced in the pack, although it doesn't seem to be enforced with as much violence as it does in, say, a hyena clan. But the one that we're looking at closest to us here, if you just scroll back a little bit, Jerry, frame by frame. Keep going a bit more, sorry, a bit quicker. Yeah. Back. Let's just watch the approach. There's Leo Smith's hand. Okay, so let's watch the approach here. There it comes. Head down, tail up. Head down still, but the other one's on the ground. You see how the one on the ground there got lower down than the approaching dog? And now if we play on, we can see that the one on the ground stays low, puts its tail down, and the other one leaves its tail up. So clearly more dominant the one on the left was. All right, let's keep playing. All of these greeting ceremonies will reinforce the dominance hierarchy that happens in these packs. And amongst this young group of dogs here, there will already be a dominance hierarchy that will not change. Now, they're obviously fairly wary of water, as most animals are, because there could be crocodilos. And there they go off on the hunt. Now, just to stop there, that's a great example. Go back a bit there. Now, for many, many years, we've been told that wild dogs are these coordinated hunters and they are the most successful carnivores in Africa in terms of hunting success, and they all follow the alpha male when they hunt, and they cut the corners, helping each other to tire out the prey. Let's just go back a little bit more, Jerry, and then just push play. All right, watch this. Now, this looks like a coordinated attack to you. Then you're not watching the same pack of dogs. Watch this. Complete bombshell. You see that? So if we start, you could see them there going off like they'd been shot out of a shotgun. It's a shotgun approach, and much more research, especially, I mean, you can actually watch it happening from the air, but a great deal of research was done in Botswana recently with dog collars, which had tracking devices on them, and it shows that that bombshell approach is much more common. Right, oh, Brian, sorry, the use of the collar so you can track the animals and just keep an eye on where they are. It's a tracking collar. Okay, so play here. Now there's a little hunt going on. The dog's all thinking about trying to eat something. There goes one randomly wandering off towards the top right of your screen. Now, watch what happens here. Very clever. Flushes a scrub hare, and they all grab them. Just stop there. Sec, and let's just go back because that's quite fun to watch. Not for the scrub hare, of course, or anybody who loves scrub hares. But watch, I mean, this is there's nothing planned about this. The chap on the top right of your screen goes in to smell in a bush. He doesn't know which way, if there's a scrub hare. Maybe he smelt a scrub hare. And then just scroll forward. Scrub hare comes out, quick as a flash, and really takes the wrong turn. Straight into the gaping jaws of the pack, and by now it's dead already. There we are. So that's a little bit more about how to identify them and what they look like. Now, I can't actually give you a great number of identifying features of the Investec breakaway pack. Safe to say that there are 4 adults at the moment and 4 pups, and during the course of today's show we will try and get some obvious identifying markers. Tula Ann, I can actually tell you how many teeth a wild dog has. You can count them here, if you'd like. It's a little bit more interesting than me just telling you. And what we've got there are the incisors. So there are 4 incisor teeth. 1, 2, 3, 4. He's kind of, I don't know what you'd call those, mid-canines, I suppose. Then the proper canines, some premolars, and then the molars. And interestingly, they've got an extra tooth at the back here, which I don't think a domestic dog does. I think there's an extra tooth. I'm not sure if it's that tooth. There's definitely an extra tooth in a wild dog's skull that is not there in a domestic dog. And then you've got pretty much the same arrangement on the bottom here. So Tula Ann, you can count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times 2 is 18. I'm glad I remembered that. Plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 20 plus 18, which of course makes 346. No, it doesn't. It makes 38. All right, let's go back up to the Mara and see if any of the character searching there is bearing some sort of fruit.
Well, we've been very lucky to be where we are, and James talking of all the wild dogs and being such special predators, we have similar special predators also here in the Mara, and this is the Mara River Pride of lions. This is the Mara River Pride. And what's happening, they are watching some giraffes from a distance, and there's a bit of a standoff between these lions and the giraffes. And Bungay is going to swing his camera to the right there, and you see the giraffes I'm talking about, and these youngsters that we just saw are just so ambitious looking at those giraffes. And because of the height, these giraffes spotted these lions long time ago, and what brought us to these lions was the attention from the giraffes, because in that particular position or body language the giraffes had, it will always tell you there's something that they do not like. It's something that worries them a little bit, and most likely to this one female they saw from a distance. And I told Bunge, you know what we need to do? Those giraffes are definitely watching a cat of some sort. And luckily, this is the Mara River Pride. Big yawn there. They look hungry to me, but I highly doubt they would commit themselves to hunting a giraffe. And without the help of a male, I've known this pride for a long time, they'll always prefer to go for small game. Now we have had the migration of the wildebeest and zebras for the last couple of months, and most, if not all of them, are gone down to Tanzania. And I doubt now they'll be looking for wildebeest more. They have now to hunt the big game. In the Mara Triangle we have so many prides of lions, but one of my favorite pride is the sausage tree. Lions being such social cats, these sausage tree pride cubs show it at a very tender age. As they mature and develop their eating skills, they will bite grass and sticks to sharpen and firm their teeth. Playing with their mother deepens the bond. And as you just saw there, lions are the most social cats that I know of. And the sausage tree pride is a pride I've followed for a very long time, and being social starts at a very tender age, and as they grow, they're not living together, it'll be for their own advantage. Now, I got the Mara River Pride here, and I've counted about 9 of them, and a few of them are missing. Hello there. And just like the sausage tree pride, the Mara River Pride also will always stay together. We haven't known any lions where they live separately unless it's just a youngster or male that has just been thrown out of the pride. But in general, all lions will live together. And I'm looking at the sausage tree cubs coming up to age very quickly. And the Mara River Pride is just out there. Carla, that's a great comment. Lions are your favorite animals, and I hope you saw those 2 small bundles of joy, which we think now they're about 12 weeks old. And I'm looking at them coming to the age of this particular one here that's just watching those giraffes there. And they're both looking at each other, but I highly doubt. These youngsters are just too young, and I do not think they have the experience to go hunt those giraffes. Those 2 lions, if you look at them, they have like 2 different colors, and sometimes it could be some genetic mutation. Otherwise, they look to be the same age to me, but one is much later than the other, of the same pride. Both of them are males, maybe the same age, but that happens once in a while. You see one lion being lighter than the other. Just like in the giraffes, sometimes you have seen giraffes, some being darker than others, but also the same species. Well, I'll just let this Mara River Pride here rest and move on. And talking of the giraffes that I have, I think Steve got similar giraffes.
Luck with your lions, hopefully they get up and do something. We're still in the search for the Awinos. We went to the place, we saw 2 nomadic male lions of this morning that were into some confrontations with Kupuli not so long ago. The big male lion who's been sort of father to the sausage tree pride, as David was talking about bundles of joy. But we have yet to find any lions. But we might be lucky, because I see a vehicle in the distance. We're going to go there shortly and see what they're looking at. But at the moment, giraffes, well, in general, doesn't matter what pride you're with, if you don't have big males in the pride, it's very difficult to catch giraffe, adult giraffe anyway. If you've got a male or 2, any coalition member spending time with you, well, you've got much better chance of bringing down these enormous animals. You've got very good eyesight. You first got to be able to get close enough, so you need the numbers and you need the strength. And well, the Awinos, they've tried. Scott had them a few times trying to hunt giraffe, but unsuccessfully. Only 2 lionesses, not really any chance of 2 adult lionesses bringing down a giraffe. Well, it's heard of, but it's very uncommon, and the risks involved with those enormous 20-centimeter odd feet that can kick backwards extremely powerfully will crush the skull of any cat that dares to try get up behind it. And that is the best place if you want to get onto a giraffe. It's to jump up on the back, and if you decide as a lion to come on by the front, well, they've got these very interesting ninja forward chop kicks that they can do that are also very well placed. They rock back on their legs and they knock forward and hit you right in the face. But we spend lots of time out here in the African wilds with the tall and the predators and the hunters, but not all of the predators are only without feathers. Some of them indeed can fly. Tall, rank wetlands provide an abundance of small prey, such as insects, frogs and rodents. Black-headed herons can be found slowly roaming these marshy areas, moving with stealth. Once detected, the silent hunter moved closer, with large feet splayed to provide good footing over wet and muddy ground. The seemingly elaborate dance is the prelude to a deadly, accurate strike. The neck coils like a spring and strikes into the long grass. The sharp, spear-like beak emerges, more often than not, with some hapless creature locked in its tight grip. Welcome back. How marvelous was it to spend time with that heron? It just kept hunting and hunting. It was a juvenile heron, you could tell by the sort of brownish spots on the neck, but it didn't behave like a juvenile. Very efficient hunter, and well, poor frogs. Although there are many, many frogs out there in those open plain systems, many of the tall herons moving through. Lots of food resource, but very special to be able to get that up close and personal with such a silent, stealthy hunter. And I know we put a lot of focus and attention on the cats, but sometimes it's very special to watch herons do their thing. I've spent time with a green-backed heron fishing, and if you've ever heard of the term fishing in birds, green-backed herons will actually catch an insect, and they'll sit in a river, and they'll put the insect upstream and let it float down, and they'll keep following it and keep picking it up and dropping it, keep picking up and dropping it, until a fish comes along to catch that insect, and then the heron, with lightning speed, catches that fish. It's almost invisible, the speed at which it moves, and well, I've seen it happen before, and suddenly the bird emerges with a fish, and you just wonder, how did that happen? Spring-loaded, extremely fast, and well, they generally move very, very slowly. Slower than these giraffe do, covering large distances in the open plains as they go from bush to bush in search of the tastiest of morsels of trees. And they're busy looking at something. And there is a vehicle up ahead. We're hoping that this vehicle is maybe sitting with the Owino pride. If it is indeed the Owino pride, well, they're looking at these giraffe and going, oh no, not those tall guys again. We can't deal with the tall guys. But anyway, all the way down in Djuma, James Henry, he loves the wild dogs, and I'm sure he's got lots of more interesting stories to tell you.
Well, William now has been granted a very special honour. Strap in. There we are. There it is. So that's William. And Tulan, I'm afraid I have to tell you that I was wrong about the number of teeth. I didn't count them properly. There are actually 42 teeth in the wild dog skull, so that is a lot of teeth to have. Imagine you had 42 teeth. I also made a mistake when I said that these things look like small canines. They do look like small canines, but they are not. They are incisor teeth. So they're just like the same as your front 2 teeth. You've only got, I think, if I'm not mistaken, you've only got 4 incisors. The wild dog has got 6, including these ones. And these ones are especially clever for gripping onto their prey. Now we know, of course, that wild dogs have decreased enormously, and I'll answer that for you now. They used to occur, of course, throughout South Africa and, in fact, in most parts of Africa, but for in forest. So when the first white settlers landed here and started taking records of the wildlife, they occurred all the way down to Cape Town, all the way up through the country, and then up north into Africa, into Cameroon, into pretty much the Congo Basin, but outside of the forests. And now, of course, they are reduced to probably fewer than 3,000 individuals in Africa. Maybe a bit more, but probably about 3,000, which is not great. Now, these two holes here do indeed lead to the organ of Jacobson. Thank you, take care. And you probably won't find those in the human skull. We might still have the hole, but of course we don't have the organ of Jacobson. And whether or not, I think the organ of Jacobson is probably situated somewhere between those holes and the brain case, which is over there. So it's probably somewhere in the middle. But what those holes do, of course, is allow the tongue to touch onto them and send whatever the dog's been licking, whatever pheromone it is or hormone, touch it up against the tongue. I'm not sure if the palate, I doubt the palate's actually hollow, but that will then travel up the nasal cavity to the organ of Jacobson. Not entirely sure exactly where between the brain case and the nose that the organ of Jacobson is, but it's probably somewhere over there. And that, of course, helps them to interpret the various chemical signals that they receive from the environment in which they find themselves. So that is the story of the organ of Jacobson. Now, Timot, I believe you think that William has a beautiful smile. Yes, I think he does have a beautiful smile, Timot. Thank you. It's not a jovial smile. It's a fairly scary smile, but it is a smile of sorts, I suppose. William, of course, does not come from the Investec breakaway of packs, which is excellent news. Now, Sydney, when he set out today, did not go looking for hippo, and he actually went looking for lions. It seems, however, he has found one of our characters from the week.
Nature is so unpredictable. My plan was looking for the lions in the area as well as Tingana, but now look who is with us at the moment. This is Kalamba, the little princess, lying down right on a dam wall. We were lucky to find Kalamba drinking this afternoon. You can see Kalamba is growing very fast. So this is the little bit of water left here by the Torchwood Dam. So she's just by herself. We haven't noticed any of the other big leopards here. So you can see that the stomach looks very big. Maybe it's because of drinking too much water. Oh, she might have got something before we got here. Look at that. Indeed, Kalamba is gorgeous. Look at what she's doing now. Maybe it's time for grooming. Thank you very much, Wendy. I am indeed becoming a cat man here in Juma. Look at that. Look at how this cat is standing. There is some owls calling here. There's a spotted owl calling. I just heard somewhere much more towards where Kalamba is checking now. Maybe that is something which is making Kalamba to be uncomfortable there at the moment. Yeah, did you hear that?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, there's a spotted eagle owl somewhere there. So the spotted eagle owls can be very protective. So you can see that Kalamba is now spending much time just by herself. And Tandy, we haven't seen her for quite a long time together with Kalamba. So Kalamba has been in Torchwood for a while now, and last time I saw Kalamba, she was just by herself. So I think Kalamba is one of those small cubs who became independent while they were still very, very young. Because she's still having the mother, but the mother is not coming very often. She's just hunting by herself, and she's all living by herself. She's only about a year old now. But normally, these kind of cats, they normally get moved away by the adults or the parents when they're 18 to 22 months. Chadwick, this little princess we are seeing here now, I cannot say is moving far because she has been in the same area for quite a long time. She has been depending on this water hole since she left Juma side. So she has been here for a long time. So maybe this might be her favorite place at the moment. So, but because the water is now starting to become dry, she might end up being driven to go back towards the Juma pen where there's quite a lot of water available. Or else they must have to move and drink by the Chitwa, which is also not far away from here where we are. So I think the side of Chitwa can be dangerous for her because Kuchava is staying there. Rosina, Kalamba has already started hunting. I have witnessed that on several occasions. Kalamba is catching some of the small things here, including she likes to catch, to chase the rodents, including scrub hair. Sometimes she tries birds, sometimes she tries the squirrels, and also big impalas. So she started hunting while she was still very young. Normally, yes, the mothers, they do neglect the cubs in order to give them an opportunity to learn to become independent. But I think Tandy has been away for quite a long time. Yes, in between I heard that they were seen together, but they are just meeting for a while and Tandy disappears. Look at that. You can see Kalamba is now growing. It's not small anymore. And that stomach shows she's eating something. And she's not fed by the mother at the moment. She's feeding herself. So now let's go back to James. James is now talking about those animals which can be threat to the small cubs, cats such as Kalamba.
So that I think the look of Kalamba there is not dissimilar to that of her cousin, the unfortunately deceased Shwangile. Quite a similar kind of walk of a young female leopard with her ears slightly flattened down. So I think they're quite similar. Now she of course faces a number of difficulties in this life, but wild dogs face even more. So this is just a few of the difficulties that they face. Here is Tingana. This is not the Investec breakaway pack, by the way. These are two females that came onto the reserve from another breakaway. They broke away from another pack. I don't think they're Investec breakaway females. And Tingana lived off them for about a week. He first took off this, I think it was a kudu. No, it's an impala, I can see that. He took the impala from them up into the tree. They had left it, to be fair. And then he did the same thing with the bushbuck a little bit later. So they do get scavenged from by hyenas and sometimes leopards. Here's a poor wild dog missing out on a meal and, of course, creating a meal for a crocodile. That happened at Chitwa Dam, if you can believe it. And there's this poor chap. And he, of course, was then left very much alone and tried desperately to find the remainder of his pack, who I think consisted of those two females and one other male. These chaps, of course, this is the Investec breakaway pack, had a dreadful time last year with Brent. In fact, it was before last year, actually. And it was just a horrific attack from this lioness, and really quite nasty, awful to see. So they do fall prey to lions quite a lot, and in fact, lions are the major killers of wild dogs out here other than disease. So disease actually kills them probably more than anything else, canine distemper and rabies. And of course there's that poor thing calling desperately for the rest of its pack. So you can see the challenges there. They split up when they're hunting, and especially if a breakaway pack hasn't quite formed into another pack. So if the females of one pack have left its natal pack and they're trying to form up with the males of another group, well, sometimes they can get pretty well separated simply because they don't actually know each other very well and they don't know each other's movements. So that's quite interesting. Then also, oh no, we're not going to carry on with that. Let's go back to Kalamba, who apparently is moving.
Look at that. You can see Kalamba is now just passing by here where we are, and the sighting is so lovely. To give you the best sighting, I'm going to have to reverse a little bit here so that you can clearly see Kalamba. She's right here with us. Oh, Kalamba is looking for a lizard there. There is a lizard underneath there. She nearly caught that lizard. I can see that lizard still under the big rock. She's trying to look there if she's going to manage to see it again. So now let's cross over to the Masai Mara. Look at that now. He's hunting the... Look at that. Oh, Kalamba just missed another lizard. So you can see Kalamba is so fast and she is so equipped when it comes to the hunting skills. That was a fast reaction. It was a fast response. So the big lizard is underneath that rock there. So let's see what she's going to find again when she's climbing these rocks. So the leopards have got quite a variety of diets, which includes the reptiles. She's seeing something. I can't see what exactly she's seeing, but I can see that she is trying to spot something from this side here. We must spot what she's seeing, and here we are going to have the best sighting of this beautiful cat. Look at that. Oh, they are impalas. She is looking at the impalas. I can see. She looks like Tandy indeed. Look at that color. The roseate golden spots looks more like Tandy's. So I can see she is interested on impalas who are at a distance of about 250 meters away from where we are. So that is what is fascinating Kalamba at the moment. But she's now avoiding them. She's going towards another direction. Maybe she's just trying to avoid them, or she might be thinking about to go around. Apologies for the aerial... my apologies for the aerial. Kalamba just walked back towards the back side of the vehicle. Kalamba is just about 1 year old. But look at what this cat is doing. 1 year old is so fast and starting to stalk the big animals. She's stalking the impalas. So now let's quickly cross over to David.
Well done, Sydney. And I think that is very typical behavior of a teenage Kalamba, just jumping around and trying to catch lizards and any other reptiles she may think of. Well, we got a huge herd of elephants here, which we have been looking carefully at the Bungay, and we think there are about 4 or 5 different families which had come together, and now they're slowly separating. I counted about 50 of them, about 50, and now they're going into different directions. And I'm sure we all know in the elephant kingdom, or the elephants are always led by a female, the matriarch. And after maybe being together for the last 1 day or two, I don't know how long they've been together, a decision has been arrived at where they're all going in separate directions. And every group, every herd here will be led by the female or the matriarch. Remember, we do a very interactive safari. Should you have any questions or comments, send them through #SafariLive on Twitter. This Mara Triangle is always exciting, not only elephants but also lions, and sometimes we see very unusual behaviors of lions with lionesses. New males in a territory may not be welcomed by the pride. Limpy, a member of the sausage tree pride, is no exception. Infanticide is common, with male coalitions takeovers. With this new male trying to take this pride, she could not take any chances. Frustrated, this new male roars to send the message the battle has just begun. Well, that was a very epic moment for me. It was early in the morning, and I do not know why the cub had gone so close to that particular male. In the Mara Triangle, we got over 10 prides of lions, and this particular male here did not belong to that area. And I think Limpy was not very comfortable. That's the female that was limping there, with that cub getting close to that male. That male comes from another pride of lions, or a coalition that we call Ondonyo Paek. And I think he's slowly and surely trying to take over that territory. And that territory is run or is managed by another coalition of males, and the dominant male there is called Kipuli. Well, he got dazed because a few months ago I saw Kipuli dealing with 2 other nomadic males, and it did not take him a day to sort them out and get them out of his territory. It won't be long before maybe Kipuli comes back and he's going to sort that one particular male there. We haven't seen Kipuli for quite some time, and he has been known always to take his time before he attacks. So there's a car behind those elephants there, but I think now the elephants or the herds are going separate ways. This being the African elephants or the savanna elephants. We have another species called the savanna elephants, which are much smaller and have the advantage of eating both grass and browsing at the same time. And you can see the expanse of the Mara Triangle. In the background there is the Olorol escarpment. Anybody who might have watched the movie Out of Africa must have seen that escarpment. And sometimes we are always out here, and we could be lucky to see a pack of wild dogs moving, but let's find out more from James on the challenges the wild dogs face.
Of course, we can sometimes be lucky to see wild dogs in the Masai Mara. Well, we've seen them once, haven't we? Orly saw them and became so overwhelmed that I thought he was going to have a heart attack for about 3 days, but he seemed to be okay when we got back. Okay, so what we have here is William, and then we've got a friend of his here called Cinderella the leopard. So we've got Cinderella and we've got William, and what I wanted to show you was the fact that they're actually almost identical in size, but there are slightly different structures. And if we look at the 2 sides, you can see that this sagittal crest, this bit here on the wild dog, is much bigger than it is on the leopard. and that means that it's got quite a powerful set, or quite a powerful set of jaw muscles, possibly proportionately more powerful than the leopards, which I find very interesting because a wild dog is not necessarily known for its very powerful jaws, but that's what that sagittal crest is suggesting. Right? Now, when we talk about the difficulties that they have, what we mean, of course, is that, yes, they come into contact with human beings, and human beings have wiped them out throughout most of their range, or their historical range, and they come into contact with domestic dogs and get canine distemper and rabies and that sort of thing, and that wipes them out as well. But they also come into contact with other predators. Now, one-on-one, a leopard and a wild dog really are pretty much the same size. A leopard, however, is more heavily built. You can see it's got a slightly more massive skull, and its body is proportionately more massive. And I don't think that a wild dog on its own would take on a female leopard. This is probably a male wild dog and probably a female leopard. I don't think they'd take each other on. But in a pack, wild dogs will dominate even packs of hyenas, so they can be just below lions in some places as the second on the predator hierarchy. But most often, however, there are more hyenas than there are wild dogs, and so they sit somewhere beneath hyenas, although they often have their food stolen from them by very quick-thinking leopards. And lions seem to be the ones that killed wild dogs much more often than any predator. Cheek, wild dogs don't actually have territories. They have home ranges, very large home ranges. They will be as big as 800 or so square kilometers, call that 500 or so square miles, and as small as about 80 square kilometers, about 50 square miles, during the course of when they're denning. So when they've got pups within a den, they will roam much less widely than they do when they're out of the den. 80 square kilometers, however, is still 8,000 hectares. So, that's roughly 7 times the size of Djuma that they can roam in, and that's when they're in a really reduced area. Most of the ones in the Kruger Park, in the southern parts of the Kruger Park, between 200 and 300 square kilometers home range. They do mark the boundaries, but there's a lot of overlap between packs, although the packs apparently seldom meet each other. We've had instances here where the packs do meet each other, and it can be fairly aggressive and fairly violent, but I don't think there were any deaths. So they don't kill each other quite the same way as lions and hyenas do. Anyway, that's what I wanted to tell you about the challenges that wild dogs face. As with all animals out here, of course, the greatest challenge is human beings and our inexorable creep into the last wild places. Let's get back inside. Okay. Right, I'm very pleased that the Vov has managed to find one of his characters from the week, although not the ones that he's been searching for.
We have indeed. We found a mature black-headed heron. I think it's mature anyway. It caught what looked like a field rat, some form of mouse, some sort of rodent, which you can see its throat is still bulging. It picked it up, smashed it around a few times in the air, and then swallowed it whole. It's really struggling to get it down. Actually, you see the little bit of brown on the throat, and probably indicates that it is a youngster. Wonder if that's the first rodent it's tried to swallow. It's really going down slowly. It's trying not to gag. Uh-oh. It might come back up again, folks. Be warned. That rodent was an impressive size for it to just swallow whole. I mean, it is something that I know that they swallow most prey items whole due to the fact that, well, most birds don't have the ability, no birds have the ability to chew. And, well, what can you do? This is in the migration still, the wildebeest and zebra in tow. And there are lots and lots of herons in this open area that we've been traversing through. And, well, I wonder if his eyes are bulging because his throat is still full of rodent. It was a very dark-looking rodent with a long tail. I didn't really get a proper look at it. There we go. Look how narrow the face is when it looks at you. They look down the barrel of their beak like the gun sights. before launching it at whatever food. Ooh, is there more to come? No, it's being shy. It's being shy. Oh, still trying to swallow. Uh-oh. You can see it's still lodged in the throat there, isn't it? And that feeling when you've just bitten off something a little bit too big and you need a moment. I need a moment just to sum up what's going to happen. Oh wow, Senak, Goliath herons are enormous. Black-headed herons are far smaller. I'm going to have to show you a picture of a Goliath. Goliath herons are really, really, really big in size. And they've got more of a maroon sort of head to them. I'll show you on the screen here. You can see the black-headed heron is grey with some black. Oh, sorry. While James comes to me, let me just wipe that. There we go. There's the Goliath heron. It's far bigger in size. Noticeably bigger. You would notice it's standing very tall. You see the coloration. Got that sort of orangey rufous to the back of the neck. Much larger or longer beak. And the eyes are the same colour. But much, much bigger. I'm going to have to tell you exactly how much bigger in a moment. Let's go back to our heron that's struggling to swallow there, shall we, James? So the Goliath heron is almost 1.5 meters in height, and I don't think the black-headed heron is nearly that. Yeah, black-headed heron's not even 1 meter in length, so much smaller. Weight-wise, the Goliath heron is almost 4 times the weight. So a much bigger bird, almost exclusively confined to water bodies, and generally walking quite deep into water. Well, while we watch this heron try and digest its food, an animal that we spend a lot of time watching digest, Lauren has finally managed to find the little chief.
Look who we found, Mr. Hosanna, and look what he's doing. Not much. So believe it or not, we did a full circle. We went all the way around and we came back to the very first place where we started, and he appeared. We finally found our sleepy cat. Now, he does look very hot. He's panting, trying to cool down, and most likely from the way he's breathing, he's probably also digesting a meal. But we just want to show you something really interesting. Just over to the left of us, if Craig can get us there, we have a whole line of wildebeest, and they have just been standing in a line. They've turned their backs now, but they were just facing Hosanna for about 10 minutes. They really want to come here. They possibly want to have a drink, but they're just not willing to risk it. And there is almost 10 of them. And they've obviously got their weaponry, they've got their horns, but they've just been standing watching. They're not quite sure what to do. Should we go and have a drink, or should we be aware? Because there is a leopard there. Oh, I think they're giving up. Yeah, they're turning around and walking away. It's not worth it. But that was a great standoff. Whereas our cat over here didn't really participate so much in the standoff. I think he really knows his position in the predator hierarchy, and he was just, yeah, there we go, plonked back down and ready to rest. So this was the perfect place to actually see Hosanna. He's been here now about for the past 5 days, give or take, and we've seen him catch numerous prey around here. And yes, he was here the whole time. He just made us do a little drive and look for him. Hey boy, how you doing? So now he's sleeping, he's not doing much. So let's take a look when this little cat is being silly and clowning around. Hunger was no longer an issue for Hosanna, leaving the little chief to continue with his usual clowning around. He hid from the heat and recuperated. Growing into his bulky form and golden spotted coat, he took some time to rest and digest. So as you can see, he may be a leopard and a very top predator, but they're very like domesticated cats, and he does just like to fool and clown around. We've seen him do it a lot. He just has this innate cat behaviour in him. So although he's due to be 3, I think I mentioned that earlier on, he was actually sort of abandoned when his mother died at about 12 to 13 months old. So Hosanna's really made it on his own. He's really taught himself how to survive out here. And he's still learning, I think, but he's a survivor and he's made it this far. So it's going to be really interesting to watch this cat over the next couple of years to see how he does develop and how he does start to form his own grounds and make his own territory. So yeah, I didn't quite catch that comment. One more time, Ems. While we watch Hosanna swishing his tail at us. Yes, Kim, I agree. Hosanna never ceases to amaze me either. And I really hope he doesn't disappear too far when sort of forming his own territory. Obviously, right now, he is within his father's territory, Tingana. So we hope when he gets a bit older, he doesn't disappear, because it's been an absolutely amazing journey following this cat. We do see him sleeping a lot, but he does do a lot of other things as well. And it's given us so much knowledge and so much insight into the behaviour of this leopard. Now, the wildebeest are still there, and Hosanna does not seem bothered at all. Yes, that's true. Our little chief is still a cub. Still behaves quite young, but if you look at his body shape, which we're probably not able to see from where he's sleeping right now, he has grown into a man, if you like. The shoulder blades are getting bigger, the body's becoming much more muscular. He's really filling out. Now, leopards are not that tall. It's probably only about 70 centimetres, maybe 23 inches in height, shoulder height, but he's a long cat, and he's definitely a very muscular cat. So Craig is just pointing out there's actually lots of things drinking around the dam around here, right next to this big predator. We have a whole line of red-billed oxpeckers. You see them all just taking a drink. Isn't that wonderful? Oh, they're moving away, and I think the wildebeest are moving closer as well. There's so many dynamics happening around this waterhole. So while we stay with one sleepy cat, let's send you over to Sydney with Palamba.
We have just lost Talamba due to poor network signal around the Torchwood. The sighting was taking place right in the middle of the Torchwood, so we are now out at the moment as she just went into the drainage where the signal is not available. But apart from that, I want to show you something very interesting which happened last week between Talamba and Tingana. Tingana was marching towards the eastern boundary with an unexpected follower. With no sign of Tandy, the Princess Talamba remained cautious, chaffing softly while edging towards her father. A father-daughter meeting like this is very unusual. Tingana was not happy about babysitting, ensuring his daughter kept her distance. Bored of her father's stillness, Talamba found other things to keep herself busy. The family dynamics of the Juma leopards continue to amaze us. So normally the leopards, when the small ones, the males are coming, when the little ones are coming much more towards the fathers don't really get comfortable with them. They always want to give them orders to stay away, which is what we have seen when every time Talamba was trying to come closer to the father was just opening the mouth and showing off the teeth. So that is normal to these leopards, and it's what we have been seeing between Tingana and Hosanna. So maybe we were just not lucky with Tingana. He might also be in the very same area as he has been there for a while now. So I've just picked up some tracks here for the lions. I'm trying to investigate where these lions went to. But while I'm doing that, let's go over to James and see what he's having at the moment.
Well, I wish I had some actual wild dogs to show you. I don't, I'm afraid. So we'll just have to show you a pre-recording of some wild dogs and their recovery from the tragedy that you saw before. There we are. So the Investec Breakaway Pack had 8 little pups this year. And we think that there are about 4 left. Well, we know that there are 4 left. We'll see them a little bit later. And they seem to have recovered quite nicely. Those are the 2 those are not Investec breakaways. Those are the 2, of course, that killed the bushbuck that Tingana fed on. And of course we do see various different packs around this place. Look at that fat belly. That was just prior to the birth of the latest bunch of pups. That is the alpha female, and there they are. Isn't that magic? Now just stop there a sec. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in that particular picture. Let's carry on. I don't think we get a picture. We stop there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in that one. That's an adult coming in. So we definitely had 8 to start with, and then there were 6. I remember that. In fact, the night after that sighting, we had 6, and then when they arrived back here a little bit later, there were only 4. And so let's hope those 4 survive. Of course, last year's pups have either dispersed or died. We're not really sure what's happened to last year's pups. Stop there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, by this time there were only 5 left. Look at that. Isn't that interesting? No, there's 6 there. Are there? Can't count. Go back, Jerry. Go back a sec. Back a bit more. Yeah, there are definitely 6. Sorry, there we go. Okay, play there. And I often wonder to myself, I mean, surely these dogs must feel some sense of tragedy when this happens. Anyway, and that there, of course, is the dominance hierarchy being sorted out between the little pups. And I'd be very interested to know if they don't stay with the pack. I'm surprised there are no youngsters from last year's pack. They don't always go as yearlings. They quite often stay, help to raise the next litter, and then move on, which makes me think that perhaps the 2017 pack or pups didn't really make it. I can't see. Maybe they dispersed just before those ones were born, but I'm really not sure. Take care. Yes, wild dogs can get mange. As far as I'm aware, any furred mammal can get mange. I think you'll find, though, that the health of wild dogs is generally fairly excellent, but for the diseases like canine distemper and what's the other one? Rabies that they get. But because they eat so much, they eat very well, normally twice a day, you'll probably find that their immune systems are very strong. And so unlike lions, which might go a long time without feeding, especially if they are like those mangy Mungan males who have been excluded from their pride, and so they're having to learn to hunt for themselves, I think you'll find that wild dogs don't often find themselves in that sort of nutritional distress, and that means that when that scabies mite gets into their skin, they're actually able to fight it off much more effectively than other animals. They also, of course, get looked after each other. The older ones will look after the youngsters, and of course if there's an injured dog in the pack, they'll look after that too. Paula, you say you hope that there will be more pups. Yes, I hope they have more pups too. They will almost certainly have more pups next year come sort of the winter time. That is, of course, when they breed, and they breed during the winter because it's clearer. The vegetation is not so thick, and of course because they're coursing predators, they don't bother to stalk anything. It makes sense that winter is easier for them to hunt in, and that's why they have their pups in the winter, which of course is quite unusual out here. Alrighty, let's go back to Hosanna. Quite remarkable how Lauren Arthur has turned from marine biologist into leopard tracker.
Yes, our little chief is still, I wouldn't say sleeping actually, I would say completely and utterly relaxing. He has rolled over onto his back, giving us another lovely view of him, and it is worth noting the wildebeest are still around, but he's just absolutely not bothered about them at all. They are obviously very bothered about him, however. So they're obviously still undergoing some decision making on what to do here. Half of the group have decided, no, it's not worth it, we're out of here. And half the group are thinking, but we're thirsty. So that's what's going on with the wildebeest. But with Hosanna, yes, he is still completely lazy and flat on the ground. Now, it's getting cooler and cooler and cooler as time is moving on, and that's absolutely happy by me, and I think it's happy by this cat too. They obviously do get very hot during the day, which is why they tend to not hunt during the day. They will stay if they're hunting for night. Yes, Francis, that is true. We see a lot of lions and leopards here, and I personally haven't seen any cheetahs yet. I'm still at the beginning of my SafariLive journey, but they have been sighted once in my time here, but unfortunately I was not there. However, the amount of lions and leopards we see is just incredible. Now, if the lions were to approach right now, hypothetically, Hosanna would definitely not be comfortable or happy with that. Lions are the kings of the jungle, but Hosanna's a king in his own domain. So talking of lions, let's go up north to the Mara with David, who has lions.
Thank you very much. Lions and lions and lions. Talking of lions, and just slowly walking away, most likely to the bushes, is one of the most famous lions here in the Mara Triangle that's called the Scarface. In terms of size, he is one of the largest and very well built male lion in the Mara Triangle. And this is, I think, my 4th month without having seen Scarface, and I think I'm a very happy boy to see him as he's walking away in the bushes there. Very majestic, huge, could be over 500 pounds, big mane that he got. Did you stop there, Scarface? And I could be wrong, I think he either got 2 or 3 brothers. Are you marking a territory? And Ra-M in the final control says, gorgeous. I just want to try and reposition, see whether we can get a bit of his face again. He just moved away, and we're in one tricky area that's full of rocks that we can't drive through. So let me see if I turn around. Bungay might do a bit of his camera work, and at least we get a face. He's got a scar face because he got such a huge scar on his right eye, which he must have gotten while maybe having a fight with other males. Let's see. What about that, Bungay? Much better. Mike, great comment. You haven't seen him for a while. Me neither. And Bungay will do the best he can for us to see very famous boy, the Mara Triangle. I don't know where, Sky, you have been. And that's the best Bungay can do. But if you look carefully on his right eye, he has such a huge scar. And that's how he got his name. And most likely he must have been involved in a big battle with other males around this area. The last I saw him 4 months ago, he did not look very good in shape, and I think he has remarkably recovered from whatever was ailing him. Not sure it was hunger, I wouldn't say so, because we've been having lots of wildebeest around this area. And I could have been wrong. I'm looking at the monitor carefully and see whether he got the scar on the eye or not. Then if not, he'll be one of the brothers of the Scarface. I can't see the eye very well. He turned on the other side. But either way, he's one huge male. Well, I don't see that scar that I thought I had seen before. And if this is not Scarface, then it could be one of the brothers. Yeah, Paulie says so, Rigo, and it's true. And look at the size of that mane. It is so dark, and when we say the kings of the jungle, as much as we don't have any jungles here, he looks like truly the king of the savannah. I wish in that area we didn't have as many rocks. We could go a little closer to double confirm whether he got the scar on the eye or not, but from the look now, I'm seeing better. I don't see that scar. I highly doubt this is Scarface, who have not been seen for quite some time. 3 days ago we saw two of his brothers very close to the Mara River. And I think Scarface got a bigger mane, and when with the wind could be blowing like this, we'll always see the mane coming over his eyes. And until he moves or he shakes his head, you might easily miss the scar. And this one, the mane doesn't come across the head, so most likely could be one of the brothers. Males will always live on their own, forming coalitions. And Scarface has maintained this particular area we are for quite some time. And talking of predators, we'll go back again to South Africa and find out more about Hosanna.
So we haven't moved much. We are still in a very comfortable position here, and it probably is worth noting that earlier when we showed you the relaxing hyena, Hosanna is almost, give or take a meter or two, in the exact same position as the hyena. So we don't obviously know what happened there, but the hyena left and Hosanna is now came in. He does look very much like a cute and cuddly cat right now, but he is one of the main predators here. And it was during my second live drive that we did catch Hosanna hunting. And he wasn't just hunting his ordinary impala meal, he was hunting a baby lamb impala. So let's go take a look at that moment. We are used to being delighted by Hosanna. However, the start of the lambing season left us slightly appalled. After an eventful night, Hosanna seemed ambivalent to the abandoned impala lamb, mere meters from an impala ewe stashed in a jackalberry tree. Fragile and shaken, the lamb didn't stand a chance and quickly became a toy for our resident teenage cat. Hosanna's playfulness took on an unusually dark and cruel shade as he played with the lamb, leaving us wishing for a swift end to the suffering. Of course, this is not cruelty, it's instinct, albeit difficult to watch. Yes, that was a difficult moment for all, a difficult moment to watch and go through with you all, but Hosanna is a cat. And that's what leopards do. He's only being a leopard. But it was difficult to watch at the time. And coming right behind the vehicle right now, we do have a small group of adults impala. So the cat is sleeping. On this side, we have a whole line of wildebeest. And on the other side, we have, well, behind us, we have impala. So there's a lot going on around this water hole. And I'm not sure when Hosanna is going to sort of wake up out of his slumber and maybe become a little bit more aware of what is going on. Now, he most likely is very full. He probably has had food today, but leopards are very opportunistic. If something does come in his path, he will take that opportunity, just like he did with that baby impala lamb. Not quite sure what he would do against all these wildebeest. We just had a question about that. Can Hosanna take down a wildebeest? Now, that's a very good question, and I'm not entirely sure, but I don't believe at this stage Hosanna would take down a wildebeest. Maybe a weaker, older wildebeest he might, but this group that we have very close by us, about 10 of them, I really don't think he would go for that. As I mentioned, the wildebeest do have weapons on their head. They do have horns, built-in weapons, and sometimes for a predator like Hosanna, it's not worth the potential injury. Leopards are solitary, so if Hosanna was to get injured hunting an animal like a wildebeest, then he would suffer greatly from that. It would really affect his hunting abilities. Whereas lions hunt in prides. So they have the assistance of one another to get food. Hosanna here doesn't. Now, Emma, how big is what? Can you just repeat that? Yes, I thought you said tummy. I wasn't sure whether you were referring to Hosanna or the wildebeest. Yes, the wildebeest tummies look absolutely massive. I'm just having a quicker look here. It's difficult to get a view, Viv, but it is possible that the wildebeest could be pregnant. It is lambing season for a lot of the sort of antelope species around here. The impala lambs are definitely dropping all over now. Impalas are very synchronized, but in general, antelopes do give birth around that time. So it could possibly be that some of these wildebeest were pregnant, but we're not sure. But yes, the tummies did look very, very big. And as you can see, they're not coming any closer. So they're staying behind their line over there while this cat in the background is having his snooze. Oh, we've woken up a little bit. Good evening. Not sure he's going to do much though right now. He's probably very comfortable. So while we just sit here and enjoy the calm moments with all of these animals around us, let's go over to the Mara to see Steve with his Ellies.
Thanks, Lauren. I hope he does get up and show you some action. I was very sad. I'm sure I remember hearing Lauren's segment the other day with the little baby impala. Very cruel and very sad, but part of nature at the same time, folks. Just like when a zebra get caught or wildebeest get caught. The emotions lie really in the fact that it's a little baby, but it is nature playing its part. And indeed, we are with elephants, but we're also with a herd of wildebeest and zebra with a very nice sky. The elephant, though, was in our shot beautifully for the longest time, and well, he moved off. And tail missing. Lots of theories about tails missing of elephants. The common one being lions catching them when they're younger. Little stubby tail there. Peaceful scenes here in the Mara as we witness the setting of the sun. It is behind a very dense cloud as there's an enormous storm on the other side of the mountain, and well, the cloud and the sun is somewhere behind there as it sets. Another day setting on the Mara. What a beautiful area. We're still on the search for the Owino Pride. This is their favourite haunt. And well, while we're searching, anybody interested in dropping a one-word tweet for us? What are your one-word tweet answers or comments for a sunset like this spent with elephant, and zebra, and wildebeest, and soon to be, we hope, a lion or two? Hashtag SafariLive. Drop in your one-word tweet. What are your thoughts about such a magical afternoon? You would love to see a zebra foal birth. Well, yes, that's something I haven't seen. I haven't seen that. There is a very small youngster in the herd there, which is quite interesting how difficult it is to actually spot. James is going to go in very slowly. I don't even think he's seen it yet. Let's see, where is it? Where is the foal? Where's the foal? There it is. You can see how the spot pattern or the stripe pattern helps it to really blend in. And we're zooming in now, but from a distance you can't actually see the foal separated from the mom. That's the perfect camouflage. And well, very sad indeed when you see young zebras getting caught. I've seen a leopard catch one before, and it wasn't a very nice event. Mohammed, spectacular is your answer. Very good, very good. That is a very nice use or descriptive word, spectacular. I tend to use the word marvelous a lot. I know a lot of people laugh at me for that, but marvelous is such a descriptive word, isn't it? There are many other meanings or many other words with similar sort of meanings. But you think these zebras are enjoying the spectacular sunset, Mohammed? They're worried that as it gets darker, it's going to be harder and harder for them to see. Zach, golden, indeed. Golden. That's a very common term I used to use with a lot of my Australian friends and UK friends. Golden meant something that was really, really good. That's golden. And I suppose that does depict the sunset in two ways, being golden and being very nice at the same time. And I can hear the white-browed cuckoo calling in the background. It knows there's rain on the horizon. One of the cuckoo family, part of the cuckoo family, the cuckoos. In fact, the only members of the cuckoo family that actually lay and rear their own chicks. It's always one of those trick questions they like to ask in the Field Guides Association of South Africa exams. What cuckoo are all cuckoos brood parasites? And well, the answer to that is no, because the cuckoos, which are part of the cuckoo family, are not. They are very good parents, although they are the killers of other birds and eggs in the nest as they skulk through. But look how beautiful that is. One last look, James. One last look at this golden, spectacularly marvelous sunset as we go down to the golden goddess herself.
So you can see the golden cat is enjoying the sunset at the moment. We managed to relocate Tlalamba where there is a little bit of a better signal, but chances are so very high that we might lose her due to the poor signals. Look at that. This is the lovely little princess. So the little princess is using high elevation in order to spot the prey in the area. So you can see how big is that termite mound. She is very much high at the moment. So she has just been to the water hole, and now I'm sure she's got all the energy in order to chase a prey. Becky, they have been spotted together, I think it's about 2 weeks now. They are visiting each other, but not very often. Now, these days, Tlalamba is spending much of the time by herself. So the last sighting I had with Tlalamba was when she was together with Tingana a few days ago. But she's doing very well, because where she is now, the danger is always there, but she's surviving. She will make it. Actually, that is determined by the weight of a kill. The leopards, they can be able to take down lizards like we saw. Easy to take a lizard up into a tree. They can take a scrub hare or a francolin, guinea fowls. Those are small prey. I think looking at Tlalamba and her strength at the moment, she can be able to hoist such kind of a prey up into a tree. But if it's something big like an impala, that is a different story. She cannot make it. We saw it before when she was feeding on an impala. Hyena came and took it because she did not have strength to take a prey up into a tree. So, but she does have all the necessary skills in order to conduct a hunt. So now let's cross over to the Masai Mara where David is having something.
Sawa, utafika. Copy. Well, we decided to have a little bit of a change after having seen that huge male lion, and we look of some reptiles along the Mara River. We had small business we had to come to do by the river, and this is some of the largest crocodiles you'll ever see in the world. And these are the Nile crocodile, just laying on the beach of the Mara River, and of course in the water will be their friends and sometimes foes. The hippos just went under the water there. I'm sure they'll come up because they need to breathe. We'll always debate how long it takes for a hippo to be under the water, and I've always thought it's anything to do with 3 to 5 minutes. Sometimes they could stay under the water for long, depending on the outside world. But the crocs could be laying there. How many there? We've got 3 of them there, 2 opening their mouth. You can see their huge teeth. And to the North America, this could be compared to the alligators. And maybe they'll get as much warmth as they can before they go back to the water. Not very far from around this area, you'll be seeing certain cats that are some of the smallest cats we got in Africa walking in the grass. Early morning, this Savo cat groomed itself for the day. She fine-tuned her muscles and used saliva to cleanse her face like most cats would do. Being rather active in the mornings, this carnivore was ready to start sourcing for food. With her keen sense of hearing, she maneuvers in the tall grass to prey on, among others, rodents, reptiles, small birds, and even insects. Of the smallest cats that we got in Africa, I think the Savo cats have the longest leg, and to me, the most beautiful coat. I'll always look at the coats of cheetahs, leopards, but for the Savo ones, I just love, especially if you look on their back around the neck area, they got not, I would say, spots, but elongated, I would say, spots like beans, which reminds me of the king cheetah. When I was a small boy, I used to call Savo cats baby cheetahs, and I kept being corrected. My grandfather, who kept telling me you should always tell these cats apart. These are called Savos, as much as he could not use the word Savo, but he said this one and the cheetah were different cats. One of the best experiences I remember with the Savo cat is how they will always jump up in the air to catch small little birds, and with their long legs they can leap very high and bring the bird down in flight and just slap it using little paws, you know, hard small paws, just to kill it. Well, these crocodiles are just staying and warming themselves there, and this is the Mara River, very famous because of the migration. And very famous because we'll have all the wildebeest in their thousands and thousands every year coming to cross here. And as I was saying, these crocodiles once in a while have been known to take advantage of the migration. Well, talking of these reptiles here as predators, let's continue getting more information about the wild dogs in Joma.
Our predators this week, believe it or not, we found them while on a little training drive. The Investec pack returned to Juma.
The Investec breakaway pack returned to Juma with their numbers depleted since last we saw them. Despite the vigilance of the 4 adults, just 4 of the year's litter of more than 8 have survived to the 5-month mark. A sad but normal phenomenon in the harsh world of the wild dog. The remaining pups were wary of potential danger, but this single hyena posed little threat to the united pack. The pups remained playful, although by now they should be using the skills learned romping about for the more serious business of helping the pack to hunt.
So lovely to see the Investec Breakaway Pack here again at Juma. I feel they should get another name other than the Investec Breakaway Pack. Perhaps we should call them the Juma Pack? I think that's a pretty good name for them. I know that's very controversial, but anyway. So the 4 youngsters have survived. 4 adults remain in the clan, I nearly said, in the pack. Be very interesting to see what happens next year. And what we need to try and remember is, well, that there are 4 youngsters now. We also need to try and identify them. And we might actually, I might ask Jerry to play that clip again if we have time towards the end of the show and see if we can't pick out some sort of distinguishing features on those 4 youngsters. Luke, they can, in fact, have as many as 18 pups in one litter. Very seldom that happens, and very seldom that all of them will survive, but not unusual for them to have 12 in a litter. I've seen a litter of 12, which is very impressive, but very seldom will even they all survive. And you can see that this one started at 8 and only got to 4 now. And of course, those pups are not out of the woods yet. They face a lot of dangers. And in fact, as I said to you, one of the most interesting things about them is that they have a lifespan in this area probably no more than 5 or 6 years. And the particular piece of research that I've read about that says there are hardly any dogs in the Kruger Park over the age of 5. So it's a pretty rough life that they have, and they die pretty young. I suspect in captivity they'd live quite a lot longer, possibly up to 10. But that would be very, very, very unusual. In fact, probably almost impossible in the wild. All right, Hosanna seems to have woken up, which is very promising. They, I mean Lauren and Hosanna, are just ever there.
There is so much happening around here. I don't want to talk too loud. We've got 2 male impalas, a younger one and an older one, that separated from the herd and came right down to this water hole. We've got the oxpeckers annoying them by continuously jumping on their backs. And then we've got the wildebeest that have moved a lot closer. They're progressing quite quickly. Now the younger impala, the one at the back, really made it quite close to the water hole, and for some reason I don't believe he clocked Hosanna, but for some reason he's not ready to go to this water hole for a drink. I believe that the wildebeest are aware, but the impalas are not. I don't think they've seen him. He's kind of hidden behind the log, but I do believe these wildebeest are aware that he is there. There's lots of interesting dynamics happening right here. You can see the wildebeest moving. Oh, okay, the impala's coming closer. It's not sure, but it's coming closer. I really don't think they're aware that just on the other side of the water hole lies a leopard of great strength. So looking at Hosanna, he's not even looking in the direction of the impalas or the wildebeest. He's literally facing the other way. What you doing, boy? So his vision is a little bit hidden. He's on a slope. So I do believe he is hidden from their view and they are slightly hidden from his view. Nobody really knows what to do here. Oh, there he is. He's looking in their direction now. Yes, Stevie, it's all very close. I agree. I'm sitting on the edge of my seat quite literally and metaphorically here. I'm just perching over. I've got no idea what's going to happen. Yes, so I'm sitting like this and I am trying to be as quiet as possible. I don't want to be the reason that the impalas get startled. So he's staring intently in the other direction. I can't see what he's looking at. Okay, he seems to be staring at another impala quite far away. I'm not sure if he realises there's a young male about 10 metres, about 30 feet away from him. Okay, the impalas are coming a little bit closer. The young one's going right to the waterhole. And the wildebeests are inching closer and closer by the moment. Do you know, it would be probably more beneficial if these impalas just darted in, took a drink and then sped off again. But they're just doing everything so slowly and so cautiously. Look at the lineup. There's a line, there's a queue for the waterhole. Yeah, these little young boys don't know what to do. And the oxpeckers just keep bouncing between the two impalas. I really feel this is quite tense. I feel the tension. Okay, we've got one wildebeest coming a lot closer. Maybe since the arrival of the impalas, the wildebeest feel a little bit safer to approach. But again, I really don't think our spotted cat would go for a wildebeest. Unless it was injured or sick, or a baby. He probably would attack a baby. These animals just don't know what to do. But our cat has made absolutely no sign of moving or going into a more alert posture. Normally when cats are getting ready to stalk or hunt, the cats will go on the ground and their shoulders will come up. He's not showing any signs of that. So while we stay here watching exactly what is going on, let's go back to James for more information on the wild dogs.
That is, of course, where we saw the wild dogs, where Hosanna is lying. You can hear in Lauren's voice, she's hoping to present a live leopard kill there, but he's just not playing ball at all. Right, well, we all get very excited when we see wild dogs. Certainly Brent Leo Smith gets very excited when he sees wild dogs. This is kind of the reaction that we have. I think there's a bit of sound at the beginning. That's me being very excited. Yes?
Wild dogs, this is awesome. I feel so good. It's my first time seeing the wild dogs in the Mara. Triangle.
They disappeared up there.
The most amazing thing about that whole sighting was the volume at which Craig spoke. I've never heard him speak like that before.
And this is Craig talking about them, yes.
It's going! It's going!
He gets very excited indeed. This was Ronald the Rover looking at wild dogs, and this is just a general kind of feel-good, us enjoying wild dogs. We don't have one of Brent Leo Smith there. I'm assuming because mainly you can only hear the engine revving when Brent Leo Smith is following wild dogs. This was the great Connor Teague's drone commander, who used to follow wild dogs with tremendous skill from his drone. And there, the bloodied face of a dog on the hunt. Just magical animals, they really are. And I'm sad we don't spend more time with them. Anyway, hopefully they'll spend a bit more time with us over the next little while, and we'll be able to do a little bit of identifying of the cubs, or the pups. I'm not sure which group that is, and I think we'll pause there. If we do have time, like I say, what we'll do is go back to that clip we had of the 4 pups having their water. So wasn't that special? And we do get very excited when we see them. I get particularly excited when we see them on foot, because that's just the most exciting thing in the world, to see a wild dog on foot. All right, let's quickly go back to the other clip, and we can maybe kill the sound. Is that possible? All right, now just fast forward to Jerry, if you don't mind. Fast. No, not this clip, Jerry. The one that we had of the pups at the pan. You remember the pups at the pan? Because these ones we will not be able to do. Well, that's fine. You can stop there. Let's pause that. That's fine. Let's go back a bit, because I think this one is, in fact, I've identified one of them. Back a little bit more, if you don't mind. Yes, well, ideally the catch-up clip, yes, if we can have that. Is that possible? Sorry about that. I didn't cue that properly. I thought we were going to go straight to the catch-up clip, and that was the catch-up clip that I narrated. Okay, are we ready? Good. Let's go back to that one. Right, there we go. Now, this is where them today. Not today, this week. Okay, stop there. Go back, sorry, back, Jerry. What I want you to look out for there is that dog looking at us has a distinctive pattern on its right shoulder. So the left-hand side of what you can see. And there are two spots right on the front of the shoulder, and I think that's very distinctive. I've got a photograph of this dog. So let's remember that on this particular animal. Carry on. That's you, Jerry. Carry on. Thank you. Keep going. Yes, very good. You can fast forward a bit from here if you want to. Yes. Oh, back a bit there. Back. That's very distinctive on the back. One more. Sorry, to the adult. Back to the adult. There. Those two patches, let's remember those on the adult dog. See those two patches on the back? With the longitudinal one on the back side. That's distinctive on one of the adults. Okay, keep going. Now this, of course, is not particularly effective as a method of identifying them, but let's just see if we can't get those two. There's that pup again. You can see the one on the ground. That's a very distinctive left, or at least right leg. All right, so let's use those two, and let's see if we can't manage to identify them the next time they come along, because, of course, that one with the very white right leg and the spots will be identifiable if it survives. And I didn't see whether it was a male or a female. So that is the wild dogs, and that is the excitement that they bring to our lives. It would be great to be able to spend more time with the Investec pack, of course, or with the Investec breakaways, because we don't know them as well as we know our leopards. And the reason we know our leopards and our lions to a certain extent so well is that we spend so much time with them, and that's because they hear so much. But of course the dogs flit into and flit out of our lives, and well, it's great while we have them, and we kind of almost forget to get into the nitty-gritty of their existence while they're here, because, well, they're just running around and we're so excited to see them. And it's not a very common sighting. Yes, Sharon, that animal does have very beautiful markings indeed, and so we'll remember the right-legged, or the white right-legged youngster, and see if we can't remember that. And then the one adult, of course, with those two little white saddles, and that was on her right-hand side as well. So I think that was one of the females. So that's how you identify them, and let us hope that we manage to see them again. Let's go back across to Laura now on her world premiere. She is going to see out the remainder of Safari Lives.
Yes, now more impala have joined. They are all almost reaching the waterhole now. We've got a mixed herd of males and females, older impalas and younger impalas. The wildebeest are edging closer, and Mr. Hosanna is finally alert. He's changed his position, he's changed his viewpoint. He's slouched down a little. Yep. He's definitely aware that there's a lot of antelope around him. 2 different species of antelope. I really don't know what he's going to do. He didn't show any interest before. He wasn't obliging, but now he is. And right in front of him is about 10 impala and about 10 wildebeest. It's a lot going on around them. So yes, this is a great moment to share with everyone. He's looking intently, but I really just don't feel the impala know he is there. Welcome everybody to Safari Live. We do have a really tense moment in front of us right now. We have Hosanna the leopard, who is looking like he's getting ready to potentially hunt a huge selection of prey in front of him right now. We have a whole range of impalas, a mixed herd of impalas, and about 10 wildebeest. They've all came and inched closer to the water, and this water hole is actually very close to a lodge, so if you do see some lights in the background, that's what it is. So Hosanna's just hiding really well behind a bush, and I really don't believe any of these antelope species have actually spotted him. I really don't know what is about to happen. There's no sounds. I don't hear any alarm calls. Hi, Eva from Denmark. Yes, I'm glad you're watching. This is incredible. Hosanna wasn't actually shown any interest for a while, but he's picked up. Believe it or not, there's actually 2 impala behind him. So we got impala in front of him and 2 behind him, and he seems to be taking a closer look at the impala behind him. Jessica, I agree. Hosanna really should go and get his dinner. I'm honestly not sure what's holding him back here. Maybe he's overwhelmed by the number. Maybe he's lazy. Or maybe he's full. But this is not the little chief that I know. I do think something might happen relatively soon. There's a huge selection for him to go for here. Mrs. Anna, I do agree with you. They probably smell him. But I don't believe they're really able to locate exactly where he is. Now, impalas for sure have really big, beautiful eyes. They have good eyesight and they have very good ears. So they're obviously not able to visually see him. And of course, he's not moved much, so they're obviously not able to hear him. But you're right, they could potentially smell him and know that lurking somewhere is a predator. But if they did believe he was that close, I don't think they would come this close to the water hole. They are literally under 10 meters, 30 feet away from him. Yes, do oxpeckers give away impalas to predators? Yes, they could potentially do that. Now, the ones that I can see are really annoying the impalas. They're not happy with these oxpeckers on their back right now. And yes, the predator could pick up on the presence and the noise of oxpeckers. However, Hosanna's been aware of this for some time and he's only just became alert. For some reason, he keeps on looking behind him. He seems more interested in the 2 impalas behind him than he does of what's going on in front of him. Come on, boy. What you gonna do? I feel like he's not sure. I feel like Hosanna himself is not actually sure what to do in this moment. But if any moment is time for his dinner, it's now. It's definitely now. Now you can see those 2 impalas we're looking at. They are the ones behind him. And from where I'm sitting, it looks like they're looking directly at him. But if they had really spotted a predator lurking there, they would have ran or at least gave an alarm call, and they haven't. So I think Hosanna's aware that he has to play this very carefully if he wants it to be a success. Yeah, so he's not really sure. Now he's looking forward. And Devinda made a comment. If you're just able to repeat that, Emma, sorry, I was just adjusting my earpiece. Oh, hi from Sri Lanka. I've been to Sri Lanka many times. One of my favourite countries. And they also have leopards too in one of the national parks. So yes, this leopard here. Oh man, this is just so tense. He's not moving. Yes, he can do it. He can do it. Now, just to give you an update, because we're obviously watching Hosanna intently, the impalas in front of him have just slightly moved off again towards the left. So it's almost as if they're walking away from the water hole. So they're not walking away because they've seen him. They're just moving away. The impalas are not comfortable around water holes. They know this is where their predators lie. So he's missing his chance. Boy, you're missing it. Okay, how many meters do I estimate? So, in front of him, the water hole is about 3 meters, about 9 feet. And then across the water hole lies the impala and the wildebeest. And I'm not the best at judging distance, but I would judge it's approximately about 15 meters, if that, which is about 45 feet approximately. And the impala behind him, just to give you an idea, is probably about 12 meters. So again, around 40 feet. So there's a lot going on here. I'm just trying to keep my voice quiet because I really don't know what's going to happen. The wildebeest are just not convinced. They only move when the impala move. It's a really interesting observation I've made here. David, that's a good question. I can only see the adults here. We did spot a baby wildebeest just a few days ago, and it's much smaller and lighter in colour. So these are all adults. But for being quite strong, they're much taller than Hosanna. They come equipped with horns, and they've definitely got body weight to them. You would think they would be a little bit more confident. They also have the safety in numbers. But they only seem to be inching forward once the impala inch forward. Look at that. Incredible. It's like, okay, the impala are doing it, so maybe it's safe. I'm going to do it. So yes, we got a bit of a better view of this whole situation around us right now. And honestly, in all numbers, there must be over 25 different animals here, including Hosanna himself. I am surrounded by animals. And I believe I have just been informed there's a hyena approaching. This is incredible. Oh my goodness, this is amazing. Okay, so the hyena's much further away, but you can see we've got a visual on the hyena. Definitely not able to get a positive identification from this distance. Why is everyone congregating here? I think I've missed the invitation to this party. And look at our cat. Is he gone back to sleep? Hosanna, you have your eyes closed. Hosanna has his eyes closed at the moment. Oh, okay, so Hosanna's got his head up. Now, the hyena said he would definitely be able to pick up. So he would be able to pick that up and know that there is another predator, one of his main competitors, coming closer. I literally don't know where to look right now. I wonder what the hyena wants here. Snuggle. Yay, hyena. I completely agree. Hyenas are my favourite. Now the hyena is walking behind me. I wonder what it's going to do. Now the hyena is approaching with caution from what I can gauge. I don't believe there would be any sort of interaction between Hosanna and the hyena, but I could be wrong. Oh, yep, Hosanna's aware of the hyena. Yep, they're both looking at each other. And all this is happening while we're surrounded by all these antelopes. Hyena, what are you going to do? Are you just going to walk on by? Oh, potentially the hyena knows that it is outnumbered. Normally hyenas gain a lot more confidence when there's more of them. We have seen interactions between hyenas and leopards in the past. They do compete, but they don't necessarily attack one another. The adults, that is, of course. Unfortunately, all predators do kill each other's cubs and pups. Okay, so I believe the hyena wants a drink. So obviously came to the water hole thinking, I'm going to have a lovely drink, or maybe even a evening bath, and it's encountered this scenario. Cheek has just informed us that this is apparently Kosa. Thank you so much. I would not have been able to identify that from here. Well done, okay? The hyena's coming closer, really close to Hassan. Nina, you're asking if I think the hyena can smell something. I'm not sure what it is, but it definitely can smell everything that's going on around you. The hyenas have a great sense of smell. It will be able to smell Hosanna, and it of course will be able to smell all the antelope around us. But it's not moving. What you gonna do, boy? It's probably not sure. Yeah, it's really not sure. It's sniffing and listening. Now, hyenas are one of the most successful carnivores around here. Why is the hyena alone, Tesla? Well, that is a good question. The hyenas probably just left the den where the cubs are and came this way, or it's potentially just... Oh. Sorry, the hyena's very close to Hosanna right now. Or this hyena could just be foraging alone. They do forage alone at night time. Now, whether this hyena is part of a clan or not, I'm not sure. Okay, the hyena and Hosanna are about 5 meters apart. About 15 feet. This is the closest I have personally ever seen these animals. This is crazy, I agree with you. I'm not even able to concentrate. Oh, okay, hyenas. Okay, Hosanna clearly told the hyena to go before having a great big yawn. He did just yawn. He told the hyena to leave and then he yawned. He's some boy, our cat. Now the hyena has walked right past them with full-on bravery. Kim, you are right. The hyena is testing the boundaries, and now Hosanna is up. So he's made himself fully visible. He's walking. So I don't know what's going to happen. He's walking right in front of us right now, and he's going to make himself visible to all the antelopes around him. Let's take a look. Okay, everybody's staring. Everybody's staring at you, boy. Everybody's looking at you. Okay. The hyena's actually going for a bath. I know, Mrs. Anna, what is going to happen. Now, I believe... Oh my goodness. In the distance, there's a huge herd of elephants. I do not know what I have done to deserve a sighting like this. Hosanna's on the move. Elephants in the distance. Hyena having a bath, I believe. I'm not quite able to see because we're on a slope. Oh. Okay, now Hosanna has put himself in full visible... Okay, now all the wildebeest are looking at him, and all the impala are too. So everybody can now see. Oh, they're running. Boy, you've made yourself visible. The little chief has made himself visible, and I think he wants to have a drink. Amidst all the craziness, I think the boy is going to have a drink. Yes, look at that. There's so much going on around him, and he's having a drink. Oh. What did you hear, boy? You heard something. Yes, Lorena, fantastic, exciting. This is maybe been one of my favourites. I just don't know where to look. But just to go back to the earlier question, yes, hyenas do forage alone at night times. And this hyena is wandering off now. We're just going to let you see it away in the distance. It's like he wants to come in, but he's wandering off. Off you go, hyena. You want to come closer, but you can't. Yep, the hyena's gone out of our visual sight right now. So all we have is what's in front of us. My head has just been on a swivel tonight. Now the wildebeest are just staring at the cat. So it doesn't look like Hosanna's going to make any kind of hunt or kill tonight. That was exciting. I wasn't sure what was going to happen, but he's having a drink. He's just having a drink. So the impala have darted off, and the wildebeest are not quite sure what to do. So it wasn't quite the sighting that we thought, but it was still absolutely incredible. So thank you to all the colleagues up in the Mara and everybody here. It has been a fantastic time with you all. Now please do join us tomorrow at 5 a.m. for a live drive, and we will try to give you more updates on this little chief. So welcome back, Rick, everybody. That was just an incredible sighting. Thank you for staying with us. It's still incredible. So thank you to everyone for all your comments and questions. That's what makes this show what it is. So the little chief didn't deliver, but do join us again tomorrow at 5 a.m. or if that's too early, you can join us at 4 p.m. to see exactly what this little chief is going to get up to, or maybe not get up to. Until then, see you later.